Hey everyone, my name is Kevin. Now, in our community forests, native and climate appropriate species are a great choice for your yard and your neighborhood. Not only are they unique and beautiful, but because they're adapted specifically to this climate, they save precious water during the summer months that might otherwise go to waste. Now, here in the local mountains, they also are an essential part of a healthy ecosystem. So, we're going to take a quick walk along the Coal Creek High Trail and stop along the way to learn a little more about the plants we find. Alright, so here we've got a beautiful flower. This is Ceanothus californicum, or California everlasting. One kind of cool thing about this plant is if you give it a quick sniff, it's going to smell like maple syrup. Couldn't tell you why it adapted to do that, but it forms these beautiful budding flowers. Looks like they're just about to bloom. All right, so we're in that rare portion of the year where there's actually mushrooms in abundance here in Southern California. So these, I believe, are a psilocybe mushroom. Here's one I pulled. You got just this beautiful gill structure. All right, this is a real common chaparral species you'll see around. This is commonly referred to as toyon, heteromeles, or Buta Folium. Rumor is this is actually how Hollywood got its name. You can see these berries look pretty similar to holly. So before people really knew what it was, they saw all the toyons scattered in the Hollywood Hills and called it Hollywood because of that. All right, so we are towards the end of the Ceanothus bloom season, but this one is still going here. So Ceanothus form a really big part of the chaparral community. They can be a little hard to differentiate, but you usually go by the growth pattern of the leaves as well as the flower color. So here we have an alternate leaf growth and then this sort of soft blue flower. So this is green bark Ceanothus, which if you look at some fresh growth, you can see is aptly named. We're in the grassland portion, but MRT is in the process of converting this back to more of a sage scrub community. This was part of that driveway system, so it's highly disturbed. We've got a lot of these annual grasses, namely the Avena species, very problematic. So you can see all of our plantings here. We've got white sages, Artemisia californica, some mallows. This process is ongoing, as you can see, but over time, these will start to grow and shade out and compete with those annual grasses. All right, we've got our native bees here. This is a vetch. I believe it's a non-native plant, but the bee sure doesn't mind. I'm sure many of you have heard that our pollinators are in a lot of trouble, so it's really good to see native bees such as this doing well in this environment. Right, now, this species I'm sure is familiar to many of you. This is California poppy, one of the most requested species people want for their yards for very obvious reasons. It does well in a dry environment and then just has this beautiful, vibrant orange color everybody seems to love. Its scientific name is Eschlosia californica. Now, I probably just butchered that because it's actually Russian. A lot of people forget that Russians were the first Europeans to really settle in California. And so the type species for this plant, kind of the individual that defines the whole species, is actually housed, I believe, in St. Petersburg. It was a Russian botanist that first described it. Uh, when it's not active, when it doesn't have its flowers, you can see very similar to California sagebrush in terms of its leaves, just a little, has more of a bluish tinge to it. Beautiful plant, highly recommended for your yards. Right, here's another very popular garden plant. This is white sage. Looks very similar to its cousin purple sage. The main difference is the base of the leaf here. Uh, on white sage, it's a lot smoother. It kind of goes straight to the stem. With purple sage, you'll see a pretty notable indent. Kind of looks like a P, which is easy to remember for purple sage. Extremely aromatic, even if it's not grown in house. A lot of people will come out to the wild and collect these, and it has a gorgeous purple flower. I think we're a little early here, unfortunately. So oftentimes on shrubs, you'll see this vine. This is wild cucumber or Mara macrocarpa. Macrocarpa means large fruit. You can see just the very early starts of one here. Eventually, though, that'll become about the size of my fist, and will be kind of like a spiny cucumber. It is related to cucumbers, but these are inedible, unfortunately. Now, two interesting things about this plant is one, sometimes you'll hear this referred to as manroot, and that's because even though it has this very humble exterior, under the soil, its root can reach about the size of a human body. So if you dig this up, you're going to see a pretty sizable root there. That is surprising to a lot of people. The second thing is the oil from the fruit is what the Chumash used to use as their paint. So they would mix the oil from that cucumber with charcoal to create black paint, or a certain fungus to make red paint, and form the bulk of the material used in those Chumash cave paintings. All right, now join us next time. We're going to go over how to choose the correct native and climate appropriate plants for your own landscape. Thanks for coming.